The crystal chandeliers of the Rothschild Hotel's grand ballroom sparkled above as Dad launched into his familiar birthday speech. 70 family members sat at elegantly decorated tables, all successful entrepreneurs and business titans in their own right. All except me, or so they thought. "Look at Thomas with his second-hand suit," Uncle Richard whispered loudly to Aunt Margaret. "Even after a decade in tech consulting, he still shops at discount stores." If only they knew this second-hand suit was actually a custom-made Kiton, deliberately aged to maintain my careful facade. The same way my cheap watch concealed a rare Patek Philippe. "At least he showed up this year," Mom sighed, adjusting her diamonds. "Though I wish he'd let us help him find a real job." Tech consulting. What does that even mean? My phone buzzed discreetly, another alert from my development team. AI breakthrough successful. Market impact estimated at $300 billion. Forbes interview confirmed. Speaking of real jobs, Cousin William chimed in, flashing his new Rolex. "My tech startup just hit 10 million in revenue." "Sorry, Thomas, I know that's probably more than you make in a decade." I suppressed a smile, thinking of the offshore accounts where my latest innovation had just added another billion to my net worth. The same innovation that would make William's startup obsolete by dessert. Dad continued his speech, proudly listing the family's achievements. "And William's company going public next month? Margaret's new tech venture. Richard's software division." My phone lit up again. Final fact check for Forbes cover complete. Release scheduled during speech. "Did you ever get that app of yours working?" Uncle Richard asked with fake concern. "The one you were tinkering with in your apartment?" That tinkering had revolutionized artificial intelligence. The apartment was actually a front for my quantum computing lab. And the app was about to transform global technology. "Still working on it," I replied mildly, watching Dad reach the part of his speech about family legacy. "You know how these things go." "Oh honey," Mom patted my hand, "maybe it's time to admit tech isn't your thing. The gardener's son just started his own landscaping business. Perhaps he needs help." Another notification flashed. NYSE trading floor awaiting announcement. Asian markets on standby. Dad raised his glass for a toast. "To our family's continued success in technology and innovation." My phone buzzed one final time. Forbes article going live in 3, 2, 1. The ballroom's massive screens, meant to display family photos during Dad's speech, suddenly flickered with breaking news. The Forbes logo appeared, followed by my carefully guarded corporate headshot. Tech's most secretive billionaire revealed. The genius behind quantum tech revolution. Dad's champagne glass froze midway to his lips. Uncle Richard's fork clattered against fine china. The entire room fell silent except for the soft ping of incoming news alerts from dozens of phones. In a groundbreaking exclusive, the Forbes article began, projected across the screens. Forbes can now reveal that Thomas Harrison, long thought to be a minor tech consultant, is actually the founder and CEO of Harrison Quantum Solutions, the world's most valuable private tech company. William's face turned the color of his overcooked salmon. But your apartment, that tiny office above the coffee shop, houses the world's most advanced quantum computing lab," I finished, finally dropping my practiced humble tone. "Though the real facility extends 20 stories underground." Mom's diamonds suddenly looked dull compared to the numbers rolling across the screens. Harrison Quantum Solutions valued at $780 billion. Revolutionary AI system transforms global technology. Secret tech empire revealed. "That app you were asking about, Uncle Richard?" I continued, pulling out my real phone, a prototype that wouldn't hit markets for another 5 years. "It just made your entire software division obsolete." The article continued, "Operating in complete secrecy for the past decade, Harrison has built a tech empire that surpasses Silicon Valley's biggest names. His quantum computing breakthroughs have revolutionized." "But you drive a Toyota." Aunt Margaret sputtered, her third martini threatening to spill. "Market research," I explained, watching another alert flash across my phone. Every failed pitch meeting, every modest consultation, every small project was gathering data for my AI systems. Dad hadn't moved, his speech cards trembling in his hands. The part about family success in technology suddenly needed major revisions. "Thomas," he whispered, "what have you done?" "Changed the world," I replied simply. "Though you might want to hold off on praising William's startup. My quantum systems just rendered his entire business model obsolete." The screens shifted to live market data. Tech stocks plummeting as Harrison Quantum Solutions announcement sent shockwaves through the industry. Williams' upcoming IPO wasn't just delayed, it was dead. The gardener's son? I mused, scrolling through the Forbes article. Actually, I hired him last year. He's running our biochemical computing division now. Brilliant mind, shame no one in the family noticed. Uncle Richard grabbed his phone, frantically calling his software company's board. But it was too late, my AI systems had already transformed the entire industry landscape. Speaking of noticing things, I continued as the article revealed more details, did anyone ever wonder why global tech giants suddenly started struggling 3 years ago? Right when my little consulting business began advising their competitors. Mom's diamond necklace caught the light as she shook her head in disbelief. But all those times you borrowed money for equipment were actually me buying out your tech investments through shell companies, I finished. Thanks for the discounted shares, by the way. They're worth considerably more now. The Forbes article kept scrolling. Harrison's quantum computing breakthrough represents the biggest technological leap since the internet. The ballroom erupted into chaos as phones buzzed with market alerts and panicked calls from investors. William, in particular, looked like he might faint as his startup's valuation evaporated in real time. Sir, my actual assistant approached discreetly, the quantum core is ready for the live demonstration. MIT, Stanford, and Oxford are standing by. Live demonstration? Dad's voice cracked. What demonstration? The ballroom screens shifted again, splitting to show prestigious research labs worldwide. Scientists gathered around monitors, waiting for something my family had dismissed as that coding hobby. Remember last Christmas, I addressed the room, when I tried to explain quantum entanglement over dinner? Before you all changed the subject to Williams' revolutionary app. Williams slumped in his chair as the Forbes article detailed exactly how my quantum systems had made his technology obsolete. Thomas, Uncle Richard pleaded, still clutching his phone, my software division. Surely we can discuss. Your software division, I interrupted, pulling up more data, has been running on my quantum architecture for 6 months. That efficiency boost you bragged about at Thanksgiving? My hobby at work. The screens filled with complex quantum calculations, processing in real time. Decades of traditional computing problems solved in seconds. But your office, Aunt Margaret stammered, that tiny space above, is the entrance to a quantum computing facility that extends deeper than this hotel's foundation, I explained. Those budget constraints I mentioned were actually billion-dollar equipment installations. My phone lit up with another alert, Chinese markets opening. Quantum impact exceeding projections. Tech sector experiencing unprecedented shift. Mom found her voice at last. Darling, about all those times we suggested real jobs. Like Cousin Sarah's coding bootcamp? I smiled, bringing up more screens. The one now using my quantum systems to teach? She reports to my education division now, by the way. The Forbes article continued, revealing details. Harrison's secret empire includes quantum research facilities on 6 continents, revolutionary AI systems, and computing power that exceeds all Silicon Valley giants combined. The Family Tech Fund, Dad said weakly, referring to their collective investment portfolio. All those companies we backed are now either my subsidiaries or obsolete, I confirmed, watching global markets react to the quantum computing revelation. Though I did try to warn everyone at last year's family meeting. Before you all left to watch Williams' app demonstration. Williams' app demo. The same one that had interrupted my attempt to save their investments. Now his technology was worthless, and the family fund had lost millions backing it instead of listening to my crazy quantum ideas. Sir, my assistant returned, the president's science advisor is holding on line 1. CERN on line 2. And, your family's investment manager is having what appears to be a panic attack on line 3. The screens showed more breaking news. Global tech industry transformed overnight. Harrison Quantum Solutions emerges as world's most valuable company. About that panic attack, I noted, checking market data, you might want to call everyone's financial advisors. Except for Great Aunt Helen, she actually listened when I suggested moving her tech investments to quantum computing last spring. Great Aunt Helen, 93 and dozing in the corner, was now the family's second wealthiest member. Right after the nephew everyone had written off as a failure. The quantum demonstration, my assistant reminded gently. Right? I stood, straightening my intentionally modest tie. If you'll all excuse me, I need to show the world's leading scientists how we're reshaping reality itself. Dad, sorry to interrupt your speech, but quantum mechanics waits for no one. The quantum demonstration was set to begin in the hotel's Grand Conference Center, a facility I secretly owned through one of my holding companies. As I walked out of the ballroom, chaos erupted behind me. "Thomas, wait." Dad called out, his birthday cake forgotten. "You can't just drop this on us and walk away." "Actually," I replied, not breaking stride, "I can. Just like you all walked away every time I tried to explain quantum computing at family gatherings." The Forbes article was now being broadcast globally. Screens throughout the hotel showed markets tumbling as traditional tech companies faced their new reality. William's startup wasn't the only casualty. Uncle Richard's software empire was hemorrhaging value by the second. "Sir," my quantum team leader approached, tablet in hand, "the entanglement matrix is stable. All global nodes synchronized. We're ready to rewrite the rules of computing." Behind me, I could hear Mom trying to reach their financial advisor, her voice rising with each unanswered call. The family tech fund, worth billions yesterday, was now about as valuable as William's startup plans. "That coding bootcamp you mocked," I called back to my stunned relatives, "the one you said was beneath the family name? It's now the world's most advanced quantum computing training facility. We're about to make traditional coding obsolete." The conference center doors opened to reveal a scene from science fiction. Holographic displays showed quantum calculations processing in real time, while the world's leading scientists watched via secure quantum encrypted links. "Your apartment?" Uncle Richard had followed me, his face ashen. "All those times we visited." "Was a quantum-generated hologram," I finished. "The real facility extends 30 stories below ground. Those video games you saw me playing? Quantum interface designs worth billions." The screens showed my quantum network activating worldwide. Traditional computing systems began transitioning to quantum protocols, their processing power increasing exponentially. "The family reputation," Aunt Margaret fretted, clutching her pearls. "All our tech investments are worthless," I confirmed, watching the markets react. Except for those who bothered to listen when I suggested quantum computing at last year's Christmas dinner. Before you all left to watch William demo his revolutionary social media app, William had collapsed into a chair, watching his IPO dreams evaporate. The Forbes article was particularly brutal about his company's obsolete technology. "Mr. Harrison," the president's science advisor, appeared on the main screen. "We're ready for your demonstration of quantum supremacy." Dad stepped forward, assuming the advisor meant him. After all, he'd been the family's tech leader for decades. "Not you, Dad," I said quietly. "The real tech genius in the family. The one you all dismissed as a failure." The quantum cores hummed to life, their processing power exceeding all traditional computers combined. Decades of impossible calculations solved in moments. "Remember when you said quantum computing was a dead end?" I asked Uncle Richard, whose software company stock had just hit record lows. "That traditional computing would always dominate?" The screens showed the quantum network expanding, absorbing traditional systems like a digital tsunami. Every tech company that had rejected my crazy ideas was now facing extinction. "Your college fund?" Mom whispered, finally understanding. "The one you said you lost in bad investments?" "Funded my first quantum lab," I nodded. "Those bad investments just made me the world's wealthiest tech innovator. Though I did try to share the opportunity with family first." The demonstration was about to begin. Scientists worldwide waited to witness computing history. But first, I turned to my shell-shocked family one last time. "Happy birthday, Dad," I said, pulling up the final market projections. "Sorry about the family tech fund. But I did warn you all that quantum computing was the future." The quantum cores pulsed with otherworldly energy, ready to transform technology forever. And in the corner, William was still trying to explain to his investors why his app company was now worth less than his designer watch. Sometimes the best revenge isn't just success, it's success so massive it renders your critics obsolete. "Sir," my assistant interrupted, "we're detecting unprecedented quantum coherence. The system is exceeding all projected parameters." The holographic displays erupted with new data, showing quantum computations that defied traditional physics. Every screen in the facility blazed with breakthrough after breakthrough. "Impossible," Uncle Richard muttered, watching his life's work become irrelevant in real time. "These processing speeds can't be real." "Like my impossible theories at last Thanksgiving?" I asked, remembering how they'd laughed at my quantum predictions. "The ones you said would never work in practical applications?" The Forbes article was still unfolding, revealing more layers of my secret empire. Quantum research centers disguised as abandoned buildings, AI systems hidden in plain sight, A decade of technological evolution carefully concealed behind a facade of failure. The quantum cores, my chief scientist announced, are ready for the consciousness transfer demonstration. That got their attention. Even William looked up from his financial devastation. Consciousness transfer? Dad's voice shook. What exactly have you built? The future, I replied simply, initiating the final sequence. While you were all focused on apps and software, I was rewriting the rules of reality itself. The quantum network pulsed with possibilities, ready to transform not just computing but human consciousness itself. And my family could only watch as their outdated understanding of technology crumbled before their eyes.